This is the concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and in today's episode, it's going to be a fun one, I think. I'm going to have fun doing it. Hopefully, you guys have fun listening to it, but I'm really excited to talk about it. So, this is going to be the fun facts episode. So, little quirks and unique details about the city of Las Vegas, the reason we name things, and other little sort of fun tidbits. So this may not be like the information of like where to go eat dinner, but I think it's going to be more entertaining in the fact that you can use these facts basically wherever you go and whenever you're trying to impress somebody about the city of Las Vegas. And I really didn't write any of these down. I'm not going to lie. I actually started doing another like topic, and then I started rambling about something, and I was like, you know what? That'd be really a much more fun way to do it. So we're going to be talking about fun facts about Las Vegas, why we name things certain ways, why we name certain streets, and I'm very, very excited to do it. So let's go ahead and dive into the episode coming up next. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and dive into the episode. So really quick shout out for Sigma Derby Project, which that is on Instagram. He gave a really nice review for us. I really appreciate it. That's always nice. So for those of you listening, if you guys want to be like cool and really like the content, give us a review like anywhere you listen to the podcast, which would be YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever. Instagram is just nice because that goes actually like to me and I'll like read it. I'm really trying to keep up with like the Instagram stuff for sure. That's the best place to reach me. So that's exciting. But yeah, Sigma Derby, go check him out. He has good content on Instagram for those of you who love Sigma Derby. For those of you unaware, Sigma Derby is a classic slot machine game, which basically replicates a horse race, and it's operated by coins, which is super fun. Like people love to get super wasted, but they love to sort of go as a group, hang around the Sigma Derby machine and bet on their favorite horse, obviously. So you can actually play this game at the Golden Gate. It was originally at the D for the longest time. They even had a very, very, very fun parade that went down Fremont Street into the Golden Gate. And they had little mini horses and mini jockeys, and it was a whole thing. So I love it. Very, very quirky, Fremont. I think that's the good thing about Fremont Street. Fremont Street is like its own little community. It's like we're over here, and that's okay. We're our little spot over here. It's funny because if you ever talk to any like sports bettor or sports fan, they'll think like Circa is the center of the universe. Circa itself is definitely made for sports fans, and Stadium Swim is really, really great because of the big giant screen. A couple little things about Stadium Swim that people who worship it won't tell you. It is extremely hot. When you are not inside the water and you are standing, the concrete will burn your feet off. It's so hot out there. And again, when you get on those big, like, ooh, let's go on a Sunday, it's very expensive if you guys end up doing a cabana or a daybed. Same thing for the sports book as well, which again, that's what they're there for. Great for groups. I would say if you're with a group, it's great. If you're like one or two people, it's, kind of is what it is. But Circa is sort of the outlier, and it really feels, to me, this is a me thing. And I know some people love Fremont Street, and that's okay. We're all different. Fremont Street, to me, is always going to be the little brother to the Strip. I know a lot of people are like, oh, classic Vegas. That's like where I like to go. It's they have better slot machines. They have better drink deals. Do they? They're like $3 cheaper. And on the Strip, they're $3 or $4 more expensive, but like way hotter crowd, depending. So that's just where I like to go. And I totally get it. Like people are on vacation. We have budgets. Totally get it. But you're asking my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm sorry. That's what it is. So fun quirks. So fun quirks about Las Vegas. So what did I start on one? So I actually started on one the other on the last podcast talking about like how I say names of things like the Cosmopolitan and the Bellagio and the Aria. So this was actually a comment that I got on Instagram, which really big fan of the Wayne Newton gentleman or woman. I don't know. But I appreciate it. they just had like a tiny thing that they were wondering about is why I call it the Bellagio and the Aria. And the thing is that I only actually say those when I'm actually in conversation saying the hotel itself. Like, oh, I was at the Bellagio the other day, or I was at the Aria the other day. But yeah, I guess it is the thing that I do say, I suppose. I don't say the Caesar's Palace because it is Caesar's. And that's where I kind of jumped off into like my tangent. But my fun one was that the Cosmopolitan. If you ever go into the Cosmopolitan and you actually speak to any of the workers there, is that they will never call it the Cosmo or Cosmopolitan. They have to call it the Cosmopolitan Hotel and Casino. Reason being is that when they first opened, I think a year or two after, is that people were confusing the Cosmopolitan magazine or Cosmopolitan magazine. They were confusing it with the hotel. And I don't know if so much confusing it, but they actually say that they have to contractually call it the Cosmopolitan. Because if you call it Cosmopolitan or Cosmo, it is actually infringement, so they're not allowed to call it that. So even in any of their promotions, this is much more about promotions in print. They can't say like "meet me at the Cosmo." It's actually owned by Cosmopolitan magazine, which is very, very interesting. So, and I also went in to say is that like there's only one Caesars, because I did say that earlier, and it's funny because that is actually the opposite of what Jay Sarno, the founder of Caesar's Palace, wanted for the property. They would never say there's only one Caesar's because Caesar's Palace, when they said, what is the reasoning behind this name back in the 60s, and they said it's because I named it Caesar's Palace specifically for those of you grammar police out there, that it should be Caesar's Palace with an apostrophe in there somewhere. And he said, I spell it this way specifically because we are all Caesars and this is your palace. So he meant that the guests are the Caesars and this is your palace, which is fantastic, just fantastic PR. It's really, really great for not having to add in a terrible apostrophe on such a beautiful sign. And then it was funny because when I was a tour guide, we would talk about this, like, oh, where the apostrophe goes. Should it go, before the S, after the S? And if we all want to be, really stuck up about it, you could put it after the S, and it would still have ownership for multiple Caesars for that palace. Is that nerdy? 1,000% it is. By the way, for those of you that are ever driving on Frank Sinatra Boulevard, which I love how our streets are named, and I think we're getting on to this like naming streets thing. We need a name. It could be the street that's like right next to the Sahara Hotel, after one of my favorite Las Vegas figures, and that is Mr. Warmth, Don Rickles. Don Rickles graced the Caspar bar over at the Sahara for many, many years in his heyday, all the way up until 5 o'clock in the morning. And I think there should be a street named after Don Rickles. A couple of streets named after some Vegas figures in town would be, let's start on that side of town anyways, would be Elvis Presley, which that is the boulevard that leads to the Westgate Resort, right alongside the Fontainebleau. I believe we do have a Wayne Newton Boulevard, which is actually very close by that particular area. Then we also have the Biggie, which this one is actually huge for Las Vegas locals, and that is the Frank Sinatra Boulevard, or Frank Sinatra. I don't even know if it's called street or a boulevard. It's actually so synonymous. It's sort of like Broadway. We just call it on Sinatra. Like we're going down Sinatra. That is the back road right next to the I-15 that gives you the entrance into the back entrance to many of the hotels in Las Vegas. There is also a Dean Martin, which Dean Martin Boulevard is located on the other side of the I-15, which actually runs parallel with where the Allegiant Stadium is. And it actually turns and Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin connect on what used to be Industrial Boulevard, or Industrial, which is now thankfully named Sammy Davis Jr. Boulevard. And it's actually really cool because, and it's really fantastic, there's a really cool sculpture there, but where, for those of you unaware, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sam Davis Jr. are the core members of the Rat Pack. For those of you old school folks listening to the podcast, is that the Rat Pack consisted of 5 people: Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and 2 other members, Peter Lawford and Joey Bishop. Many say that one of those members is only a member because he was the brother-in-law of, at one time, the president, John F. Kennedy Jr. I can always forget if it's Peter Lawford or Joey Bishop. It was, I believe, Peter Lawford was the brother-in-law to John F. Kennedy Jr. So there's a very famous story that JFK was supposed to go to Palm Springs, and Peter Lawford kind of helped put this together. And then, like, a lot of stories came out about... so JFK was supposed to go to Frank Sinatra's house and stay there in Palm Springs, and they even outfitted it to be, worthy of a president, and also, like, security. They had to be built things. And last minute, the president decided not to go because there were some stories, or at least a reputation around Frank Sinatra about being connected to the Italian mafia, and that is one of the reasons he did not go. It also has to do with Bobby Kennedy, who was really was a key figure in going after the Italian mafia. So, and like Rico and all those things. So very interesting things about the Rat Pack. But anyways, back to the streets. There is a corner that is the Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sam Davis Jr. Intersection, where you actually have a wonderful, like, old school microphone. That's the corner of music in Las Vegas. I actually don't know if that's its name, but that's the Rat Pack corner in Vegas, which is really cool. On that street, on Frank Sinatra, that's where you can get to J. Sarno Boulevard. They're all boulevards for some reason, but J. Sarno is a street that actually leads into Caesar's Palace from Frank Sinatra. So that is the owner and creator of the Caesar's Palace, of course. I do also think that, and I believe I'm correct, because it's my podcast, so I can make up whatever I want. Jay Sarno is also the creator of Circus Circus. So if you ever look at, this is another fun little fact, a lot of fun facts that just sort of roll together, is that if you ever go in front of Circus Circus, there is a clown, not the big giant neon clown that no longer neons, but the one that is actually in front on the street. It's sort of like this white... It's a white statue that is actually sort of modeled after Jay Sarno himself, which looks kind of funny as a clown. So now you know. But as we kind of move down our wonderful street, as we sort of make our way down the streets, what else do we have? Vegas streets are very simple because we named them after hotels. So Tropicana is where Tropicana Hotel used to be. That was very helpful for people who didn't know how to navigate Las Vegas, was that if you go down Tropicana, that is where you can get to the Tropicana Hotel at some point. Then we also have Flamingo, which does run along where Flamingo is. We do have other streets that also are for hotels and are no longer here, and that is Desert Inn. Desert Inn actually does change, and that is actually where the Desert Inn Hotel used to be as well, which is right in front of the Wynn Hotel. I'm basically just giving you guys street names, but I'm just saying it's part of the history. We also just named a new street. We gotta get more, not liberal, but we gotta tighten up a little bit. But Bruno Mars Street is now the street that runs parallel of Park MGM, that connects to, basically goes to T-Mobile and Park MGM, where he performs for the rest of the time. Just so everybody knows, whenever we build a bridge on Las Vegas Boulevard, it's about 85% chance that was initiated by a casino, and usually it's MGM. MGM is big into building bridges that get to their own casinos, of course. So, as we continue our fun little facts about Las Vegas, let's move our way down to the MGM Grand. For those of you wondering why the MGM is green, that is always a fun little fact. That is emerald green, for anybody wondering what color of green that is. And that is for the Emerald City of Oz, that MGM used to be connected to the MGM film studio. And that is where we came up with the Wizard of Oz themed hotel. This was back in 1993 when theme hotels were just beginning to make a rise, one of them being Excalibur, which opened in 1990. And it was a huge deal. And when you'd walk into where now the Centrifuge Bar is and where Hakkasan nightclub currently is, that used to be a big giant lion head that many people are very, very fond of what it looked like. I have a picture in front of there when I was a kid, which is very exciting. So they used to have Dorothy and then the Tin Man, and all the characters were there to greet you. And if you ever look very, very closely where the stairs are around Hakkasan, you'll notice that it has like sort of this tan look with all these very interesting designs. That is all Art Deco. It was like 1920s Art Deco was the theme of MGM. Because it was Wizard of Oz, then it became like Art Deco, and then now it is whatever it is now. But that hotel, MGM Grand, came from the name MGM Productions, or the MGM Studio. And of course, Leo the lion, who roars very proudly in the beginning of those movies, is the mascot for MGM. There was a point where they were separated, which I want to say this was in the mid to late 90s, where it became MGM Mirage or Mirage, however you want to look at it. And they became two separate companies, no connection to the film studio anymore. But it became a brand, and now Leo the Lion stands proudly in front of MGM Resorts. With that, the lion in front of the MGM Grand, his name's Leo. Some people called him Rory, which is incorrect. He is not called Rory. Because why? He is 50 tons. He is the largest bronze statue in the United States. So he is gigantic. So because he is bronze, they do have to polish him once every year by hand. There is no like super oxidation thing because he is made of bronze and not copper. For those of you curious, the Statue of Liberty, the one in, what do you call it? New York City. That one is made out of copper. Am I right on that? Let me double check. I was really in it, and then I had to like stop and think. So let's see here. So statue, guys. I feel like I know this. And I'm gonna be really sad when I figure out that I was right the first time. Yes, copper. Oh my goodness, I hate when I second guess myself. So because it is made out of copper, it oxidized, turning green. So we don't really have that problem with our bronze statue because it is a different material, obviously. But we still polish him to keep him nice and shiny. But speaking of the Statue of Liberty, let's go across the street to the New York. A fun fact for people to know is that our Statue of Liberty is exactly half the size of the actual Statue of Liberty in New York. The one in New York itself is 151 feet and 1 inch tall. That's 305 feet if you include the pedestal. Very fun fact that our Statue of Liberty from the pedestal to the top is 150 feet. So basically the size of the actual statue is the size of our entire Statue of Liberty with its pedestal. Ours is not made out of either of those things. It is actually, I want to say it's just fabricated, but it does, that's what it is. But a really fun fact is that the post office, when they printed a stamp of the Statue of Liberty, which was meant to be the one in New York, they actually used the version from Las Vegas, which they are different. If you ever look in the face, the faces are different. One is like supposed to be more round, one is more pronounced. Ours is a little bit more contoured, but she's from, Las Vegas, so she's had a little work done on the West Coast. But that's probably the main reason there is a major difference. The one here in Las Vegas is a little bit different, besides being a little bit more contoured. I believe she also has more spikes in her crown. I think that's another reason. I can't remember which one. But one of the major ones being in the face is the eyes and the chin are slightly more contoured. No, you cannot walk into the one in Las Vegas. So as we make our way down Las Vegas Boulevard, what's another little fun fact for you guys? So as we kind of move, you're going to notice that the strip itself actually moves when you go down to the strip. You can see the Trump Tower straight ahead. Not anymore. But as you drive down Las Vegas Boulevard going north, you used to be able to see the Trump Tower, but now it is covered by the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Really excited for that to be built. And it turns slightly. The strip itself is 4.5 miles long, 6.2 kilometers. For those of you outside the United States wondering, why it's so hot when you're walking down there. Also, people always are questioning, like, why do we have palm trees? So this is actually a really fun story. So the reason that we have palm trees here in Las Vegas was, and this is the rumor, that the then owner of the Flamingo Hotel, the one who came up with the idea for the Flamingo, not Bugsy Siegel, for those of you who love to say that, he actually used to be the owner of the Hollywood Reporter. And he loved Sunset Boulevard, which was lined or had lots of palm trees because it was Las Vegas, obviously, or it was Los Angeles. So he thought that having that tropical theme would go with the Flamingo Hotel. So they actually planted palm trees outside of the hotel itself and expanded to the entire strip. So that's why we got our idea from the Sunset Strip in Hollywood, brought it to Las Vegas, and now it is the Las Vegas Strip on Las Vegas Boulevard. I'll probably leave you guys with one of my more favorite sort of notes about Las Vegas signage, which we all know it's neon, but the Welcome to Las Vegas sign is chock full of really, really great facts. And it's a really fantastic testament to the person who made it during that era. So the Welcome to Las Vegas sign was created in like the mid 1950s. So you'll have to let me get the name correct here because I don't want to get it wrong. So the Welcome to Las Vegas sign actually was further down on the strip, much closer to the Mandalay Bay. But as we've sort of expanded, it's now become, further and further down Las Vegas Boulevard. So when they built it, which it was constructed in 1959 and, actually placed there, it itself was designed by Betty Willis, who actually was part of the Western Sign Company. She designed the Welcome to Las Vegas sign with many, many different parts. And the Welcome to Las Vegas sign itself has many different things that are important about it. But one of them being, one of the fun ones, was that the reason that it has the welcome part, if you ever look really closely at the Welcome to Las Vegas sign, they are actually silver dollars. And the reason they are silver dollars is because we are known as the Silver State. So that's why it was a kind of an ode to that time. You'll also notice its shape, which was very common of like 1950s sort of sign design. But at the very top, it has that very unique star. That was actually besides looking really cool, was supposed to replicate the atomic bombs that we used to test just outside of Las Vegas, because this was 1959 after all, and it was sort of an ode to that part of the city as well. And of course, all the fabulous colors. And speaking of fabulous, the sign itself, you'll notice the word fabulous is handwritten or in cursive. That is actually Betty Willis's handwriting and actually her little signature, if you will, on the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. And one of the best things about the Welcome to Las Vegas sign, maybe not for the Willis family, is she never copyrighted the design of the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. And by the time they wanted to copyright this, the sign itself had been so synonymous with the city, was that it was so much into like sort of the fair use aspect of it, that they didn't want to copyright it, even once she figured this out. And it is now public domain and one of the most famous signs or symbols or landmarks that can be reproduced for profit with no charge. It is a free use item that you can use for whatever you want, including the logo for Concierge Confidential. So if you guys are on your phone right now, go ahead and look at the design. It is the exact same design, but with some names changed on the inside. And I'm so glad that I was able to use it. I do think it's one of the most fabulous things that we have about the city of Las Vegas. And a fun fact about me is that I have never taken a picture. And I used to be a tour guide, and I would go there every single day for like 4 or 5 years. And I had never taken, and still haven't, taken a picture in front of the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. And my whole thing is that if I ever do leave Las Vegas, I will finally take a picture in front of the sign. A very good one that people say is that they take a picture of the back of the Welcome to Las Vegas sign, which does say, "Drive careful and come back soon." True that. So if you are interested in any of the sign designs or signs of the old school Las Vegas, make sure you check out the Neon Museum, which you can check out on the Instagram that I have, Conscious Confidential _LV, or at Keys to Vegas on TikTok. And you can see what they have in store for you at the Welcome, at the Neon Museum. I'm not going, but I'm really excited that Steve Wynn is actually coming back to Las Vegas to do a talk. I think part of the Neon Museum foundation. I think it's at the Golden Nugget, which is where he really got his start in Las Vegas. If you're interested in Steve Wynn, we did do an episode of Las Vegas Icons, which we'll bring that back. I meant to do more of those and just kind of got off of it. But there's, I think, 2 episodes actually dedicated to Steve Wynn. If you're interested on the influence of modern Las Vegas and really Las Vegas becoming what it is today in the modern age that we know it as. So I think that's a really good episode that you can revisit. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I really appreciate it. I know this was kind of a funny or different informational and hopefully fun fact episode of Concierge Confidential. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, if you like these episodes, let me know. If you don't like them, also let me know. Just because I want to do stuff that you guys want to hear. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Really appreciate it. I'll see you guys again sometime soon. If you see me out in town, come up and say hello. But remember, keep it confidential.